very good afternoon to all the attendees today. To start with the session, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Prajyot, and I'm currently working as the Research Director at Frost & Sullivan, and I'm leading the electric vehicle program area for the company. So with reference to today's session, we will be talking about scaling charging infrastructure, grid interoperability, uptime, and return on investment. So these are the 5 key areas which we would be discussing in the panel today. To set the context first, as we look at the development of the charging infrastructure which is happening here, as we can see in India, if we look at the latest, so if we look at the current scenario or in the Indian market, the scale at which the Indian electric vehicle market, specifically the passenger car segment, is growing is significant, and the development of charging infrastructure, on the other hand, is yet to keep up the pace with the development that is happening in the as compared to the EV sales. So with this and the background, today we would be discussing the subject on EV charging, scaling charging infrastructure, and I would like to request the members to introduce themselves before we start the discussion shortly.
Hi everyone, I'll just give a small introduction about myself. I am Hitendra Vigama. I have been associated with the industrial automation and EV industry this is my 18th year in both the industries. So from 2020 I have been associated, and I have been fortunate enough to work with a global EV charging giant and also with the Indian company. So I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I am Ramkrishna Singh. I head business operations for Tata Power. So Tata Power, you must be knowing that one of the largest integrated power utility, also one of the charge point operator. And we have installed close to 6,000 plus public charging infrastructure across India, and close to 2.4 lakh home charger installations and 1,000 plus bus charger installations. Plus, we have close to 6 lakh plus customer base on our Tata Power Easy Charge app. So I am quite excited seeing this vibrancy of this event to discuss with all of you how we are progressing. Thank you so much.
Hi, Vanakkam. Myself, Karthik, heading Relax Electric as a managing director. And we are also a CPO, and only CPO for 3 consecutive years in profit. So that is our plus point. So, and most utilized chargers are our chargers. So we are happy from the home city and home state. Thanks for the CV show, and hope a good discussion ahead.
Thanks a lot for the introductions. Maybe I would start with Mr. Hitendra in the first place. And as we look at the development of the charging infrastructure that is happening, and if you look at the long term for next 5 to 6 years, how do you look at, or what will be the differentiating factor for the market leaders in the charging infrastructure space? Because comparing different areas, looking at what are the factors that will lead to a success. So currently we have hardware, software, energy management, and different kind of partnerships that are happening in the ecosystem. So what, in your opinion, would be the differentiation factor in the next 3 to 4 years in the EV charging infrastructure business?
So, good question, and I would like to answer this on behalf of being a manufacturer, EV charger manufacturer, because alongside with me, I have great experience sitting alongside with me who are already handling the charge point operations from many, many years. So on behalf of, as a manufacturer of charger, so I'll first of all answer this from the global perspective. So from the global perspective, the market has evolved from the regular 50 kilowatts to now people talking about dispensing close to around 1000 ampere also on the CCS2 cable. And these things are actually happening, and that is where the charging infrastructure is heading towards. And there is absolute clarity on the importance of not only DC chargers but also on the AC chargers as well. You cannot be having a sustainable infrastructure if you only focus on the highway charging. You should be having the captive slow charging also, because both complement each other. Now coming from the Indian context, so we have right from 2019 onwards, we have seen the charging standards taking a shape. Initially in India, we adopted Bharat AC 001, Bharat DC 001 with respect to e-Veritos and Tata Tigors coming into the market. Then we went on, and in fact, Tata was leading that initiative in January 2020 when they launched the first mass car, I would say, in India, Nexon EV, which is still performing very good on the roads. So that was the first pure mass CCS2 car on the road. And from their time onwards, we saw the cars taking only 21 kilowatt power at that point of time on a DC charger to now even other OEMs which are offering the cars which can take up to 180 kilowatt from one single gun. So we have evolved to that space. We genuinely used to see very few trucks only on GB by T. Now we are seeing trucks on the CCS2 side also. So on behalf of that, where the infrastructure will head towards, I think it will head towards people not talking about quantity of chargers, but people deliberating internally with the consultants, with their teams internally to manage the energy show. It will be heading towards that. And yes, of course, the features will be there, the speed power will go up, you will see more redundancy. And yes, I would like to mention one line here to end my quote. This is a very beautiful transition phase. This will test all the charger OEMs to the hilt because the utilization is now going up. So in the last few years, the utilization was very low on the public chargers. Now the utilization is going up, and in the fleet space and in the bigger vehicle space, the utilization is even hitting from 25% to 45%. This will truly test all the charger OEMs, and I think beyond 1 year after this, we will see good manufacturers surviving in the market and people who are able to offer reliable infrastructure, not only putting the numbers just for the sake of it. So that will be most important transition that will take place with respect to the Indian market.
Yeah, just a follow up, to this question. You mentioned about utilization and how the uptake rates. Now, along with that, of course, then it comes about the uptime and what is the probability of that being now above 95% of efficiency when we talk about the uptime. What do you see in terms of when we talk about AI or predictive maintenance or remote diagnostics, being a hardware manufacturer? Do you think this will have a great impact, or will it help achieve the mark that we are talking about, being the uptime, 95% plus for all of it? So do you think all these three factors, AI, predictive maintenance, and remote diagnostics, would be the key backbone on achieving this goal?
Right. So on the predictive maintenance, I would first of all answer on that. I think all the major CPOs, including the leading CPO in India, which is Tata Power, they are already doing the preventive maintenance at their CMS level. There are all these major CMS solution providers, right from, I would say, the companies which are based out in southern India or northern India. They're doing predictive preventive maintenance, but on the OCPP linkages. But now, going to the advanced component level diagnostic, that is where the control has to be with the charger OEMs at the component level. You cannot be dependent upon the few code lines of OCPP, and you cannot be asking the charge point operator to be doing all the predictive maintenance at the component level. That is where I think the use of NPUs, you will see in future with the cost going down, NPUs getting integrated in the chargers, and those artificial intelligence in algorithm getting put through so that chargers well in advance, 14 days, 20 days, 1 month in advance, tell you that this component is not performing at a particular level. Yes, it will push towards more uptime, but regarding now the efficiency. Efficiency is a very genuine topic. Almost all the manufacturers will write that the chargers are having 97, 98% efficiency. But on the ground, when you're converting AC to DC, 94 to 95% is the actual good efficiency of a DC charger. But now to maintain at that level, they will need to have good thermal management in the system. They will need to have their system completely, orchestrated around the CFD, computational fluid dynamics, to make sure that they deliver peak power and nominal power, and their fans. Let's go to the component level. Fans perform well, filters perform well, their individual components, independent components inside the charger, right from rectifiers to auxiliary supplies, they perform well, because altogether charger is an amalgamation of all the electrical component. And I think this will be tested, because not with the passenger car CPOs, where still I would say the utilization average is singular digit. But with the heavy vehicles, you cannot take a risk, because if a transporter is running these iShare Pro X vehicles, 20 of them, he won't go in for losses at the charger side, that many side. They need to have that efficiency. That is where the chargers will be tested, sir.
Right. And just a last follow-up. Yeah, we are just since we talk about hardware manufacturing and then taking into consideration all these perspectives, if we look at the next 5 years, what is the key factor that you would want to share with us that would really kind of be a breakthrough for the market, especially for the DC fast charging, as we see a lot of transition, lot of regulations coming in. India is yet to see such regulations in terms of installations per kilometer or certain distance, like they have in Europe recently, from the alternative fuels infrastructure regulation. Every 60 kilometers, I think they mandate now to have a 150 kilowatt DC charging station installed. So, do you see any such breakthrough in the Indian market in the next 4 to 5 years?
I would list down 2-3 steps which can create a big breakthrough. First is the transparency level. I think all the EV charger OEMs should be transparent enough to release their scorecard with respect to their performances on all the major networks where they have deployed their chargers. Let us be very clear. If you, me, anyone, we are not from a technical field, we want to invest in a public charging station, all we will right now look at it will be at the cost and the recovery. But that is not the game here. If your charger doesn't perform for one day, that one user will impact 10 other users. They will not come to your station. So you need to be working on the quality. There should be a scorecard at the national level where every OEM needs to publish the correct data that their chargers are running in these quantity on this network. This was the uptime. These are the errors that are counted. And if that is there, you will see fruitful investments coming through from the CPOs. And yes, in the next 5 years, I would say, yes, there is a mandate to put up certain category of chargers, but then we need to clearly define the ratings of the chargers as well. Because you will see in a 240 kilowatt charger, a 200 ampere cable also mentioned, a 500 ampere cable also mentioned, but logically speaking, if a 400 voltage battery operating voltage vehicle has to charge at 180 kilowatt, the charger needs to have a peak output current of 500 ampere from single gun, because that is how it will take 417 ampere at 450 voltage to give you 180. Some of you must be owning those vehicles, famous B6 and XCV 9Es, and you must be struggling that why my vehicle doesn't take 180 kilowatts. So I think in the next 5 years, the breakthrough will only happen once we are transparent at the OEM level, and at the regulations level, there should be completely transparent rating disposition. The ratings cannot be added. 240 cannot be 2 into 120. A 240 genuinely has to deliver 240 kilowatts from one gun. So that is just an example. So I think that will add to the breakthrough, and I think we are at the right point, because now the users, EV users, whether they are fleet or passenger car, they will push the CPOs to adopt the correct measures and OEMs to build the correct chargers.
I think, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as we now move to the next panelist, Mr. Ramkrishna, and considering right now, if you look at the global acceleration, the growth of electric vehicles, and if you look at the Indian market, there are several challenges. So, out of this, what is the single bottleneck challenge that you feel in the scaling up of infrastructure in India over the next 5 years? Is it about grid capacity? Is it about the economics, technology, or how the regulation? So, what are these 4 key factors? What kind of a role will this play in the next 3 to 4 years from your perspective?
So for scaling any business, not only the charging infrastructure or a CPO business, you need a good, economics. Whatever anybody is investing, he or she or they should have that adequate return so that business can sustain. So I think now earlier there was some issues that what should be first, EV vehicle or charger, and then we created an ecosystem that let us have the charging infra across India, and the utilization will follow it. But that doesn't happen. So now to take up this to the next level, I think we need to ensure that wherever we are investing in the charging infrastructure, economics should work well, number one, which now is taking pace. If you see in last 1.5 year, I think four-wheeler penetration has gone 5% plus, and apart from excellent penetration in three-wheeler and two-wheeler. But for scaling to the next level, I think now one has to ensure that apart from the numbers, the reliability is a key thing. So what Hitendra was telling, that transparency rating of that particular charger, availability of the charger. So availability is not only the power availability. So there are, so recently you might have heard that there is a lot of, forced shutdown because of power unavailability during the peak summer, not primarily in north part of India. So we also need to evolve latest technologies, including the renewables, battery storage, to ensure that we have 24 into 7 availability of each and every charger, whatever we install. So asset has to up and running 24 into 7. That is a key thing. The asset should also have utilization in two digits, at least to start with, to have a good ROI. In otherwise, if you are having 2%, 3%, 4% utilization, you won't be able to achieve the investment. Karthik was telling that they are the only PAT positive or only profitable CPO. So I think that is, so they must have definitely done very good exercise. They must have learned very from the many other CPOs, and they deployed that learning into their developing the charging infrastructure in the Tamil Nadu. So second is that site selection, power availability, economics, and then fourth is also that another part is like charger itself. The quality of charger which Hitendra was talking about, it has to be highly reliable, because if something is working fine in Europe or China, doesn't means that it would work fine in India. So, because in last 4.5, 5 years, I have experienced even one of the best quality chargers were failing, derating. They were not giving the adequate power at the time of, when you have a peak summer, so thermal management goes haywire. So I think we need to see that what is a requirement of region specific. Something which is working well in Tamil Nadu may not necessarily work well in Jammu or Srinagar or Delhi. So we might also need to have the technological specifications to the city specific, region specific, so that those are reliable continuously for its life. Because this electronics is very unpredictable. Many a times you are not able to understand why it is not connecting. Another important I have seen that factor is many a time communication between the car and the charger. So every time you connect, the charger should connect successfully without any error. Many a time you find that whether because of power quality or because of network quality, the connection is not going through. So you also need to talk to the telecom operator to have an adequate signal strength in that particular area. So I think these are the 4-5 key constituents which are basically required to scale up the charging infrastructure across India.
Right, and very well put together. Just follow up again after this. If we look at the volumes that is increasing year on year, we have seen very good, I mean, in terms of percentage growth, in terms of passenger cars specifically. Every year, along with this year, according to our analysis, the Indian market might finish at about 280,000 units by end of 2026. And it is almost about, I could say, 120,000 units more than what it sold last year. Now, this pace, as it increases, the charging infrastructure, if you look at the official numbers right now, public charging, there are only about 29,000 charging stations that are available, which, and if we put together all the electric vehicles that are running on road right now, passenger cars, the number comes to somewhere about 500,000 vehicles, 500,000, about in that range. Now, when we compare this, the ratio is almost one charging station for about 17 to 18 electric vehicles in terms of usage. Now, going forward, what strategy, what we see a lot of CPOs and charging infrastructure operators, what they do is they're upgrading, or rather the kind of charging stations that are being installed, they're all DC charging. And we see the wave now moving towards ultra fast charging. Like, very soon we could see charging the kilowatt hitting 250 plus in usual markets. So do you think the grid will be able to support that? Are there any other ways that we need to adopt right now for the energy management? Because we see V2G is happening on a global scale. We see most of the vehicles, even in India right now, they are compatible. They have the interoperability or V2G enabled. So what do you think? Will the grid be able to support the kind of volumes that are growing, like I said?
So, see, right now, if you see, the grid is already supporting, okay? But the scale which we need to grow, so right now we are talking about only passenger vehicle, but we will be adding the transport, heavy duty buses, trucks, and then it would be a massive requirement. So I think DISCOM also need to be ready. There are government has also taking a couple of initiatives to augment the infrastructure across the highways. So as we go along with the growth of the EV charging infrastructure, I'm sure most of the DISCOM have their network planning exercise on annual basis, and they do plan their network augmentation based on the regulatory approval on annual basis. So I'm sure that is going to take place along with the growth of EV charging infrastructure. But apart from this, the charging stations would not only be the consumer. I think in coming years, they would be the prosumer. They would be having the rooftop solar, they would be having the battery storage, they would be supporting even the discoms at the peak times. So if you have a battery storage, if you have rooftop solar, so it is like you generate electricity, you store electricity, you also sell electricity, also support the discoms during the stress. So we need to move from the normal charging infrastructure to the smart charging infrastructure, which can scale up, scale down depending upon the demand and supply.
Right. Right. Very interesting. Thank you. Maybe we'll move on to Mr. Karthikeyan. And I think you mentioned at the beginning about profitability, and it's again very interesting to see some of the CPOs already talking about profitability when we look at majority of the CPOs still struggling to get the numbers in terms of utilization. Now, a direct question would be: can public charging become profitable based solely on electricity sales, or will the operators need diversified revenue streams? Such as fleet services, different kind of retail partnerships, energy services, or other streams like advertising. So, I mean, what are the can a CPO achieve profitability just by that? What are the different factors that you get from your experience?
See, we need to concentrate, as Sir said, reliability. We never signed with single fleet, still date. Because the thing is that I'll tell you a classic example. When you do go to a hotel, you eat dosa, right? And they will give the bill. It is not you decide the dosa price. When fleet operator comes, they are deciding dosa price. So we are not okay. Dosa is mine. I have to fix the price. That is the reason we are in the profitability. We never compromise on utilization. We have real utilization. Now the thing is that practical scenario, I will tell about blunt. It is funding game is going on. Because of the funding, because of the corporate identity. So everyone increasing utilization in a different way. That's the reason it isn't loss. When the utilization increases, profitability also increases. But here, utilization is increasing, profitability is reverse. So we are not on ethics, business ethics, transparent. So that is only missing. That is, we are very keen on that. We never compromise on anything, and it comes only in operational freedom. Okay, when you have complete free hand, we are not controlled by anyone. So still we are self-funded. So that's the reason. That is one more reason. Okay, and as Sir said, the real estate is the major key point. Because now it is just like in restaurant business. You will find restaurants will be dumped in all weekends. It will be free in weekdays, in highways. The same thing happens for charging also. So we need to have hubs everywhere with a proper power infrastructure. So majorly, I'll tell you the brand, major that scalability or profitability associated with the brand value. As Sir said, na reliability. The reliability comes with the brand value. When you go to a particular brand, if the charger is not working, people doesn't know whether it is a voltage issue, whether it is a power issue, or whether it is a car issue. They simply say the charger is, that brand is not working. When you go to a HP petrol pump, if the petrol is not there, we will say HP pump doesn't have petrol. Nobody will say that Radha agency doesn't have petrol, Geeta agency doesn't have petrol. They put the brand value in a single line, they will collapse it. So that is where is happening. And now all the major CPOs realizing that, now they are concentrating on reliability instead of numbers. Initially we showed the numbers because government also show the push na. So chicken or egg story is there last 5 years. So either we need to push the stories. I think a lot of Tata Power has invested a huge amount in India across comparatively all the people. Tata Power has invested a lot. So then only they can boost the sales of Nexon. If there is no charger, nobody will buy EV. So and EV and charging is a recurring income. As you said rightly, charging is not a standalone income. It is a allied income. You should have a proper launch. We should have a proper waiting area. And we should have everything all together. So then only it will go into a new normal. And as Sir said, now the cars are becoming increasing. Initially it was around 20 kilowatt, 30 kilowatt is input, where we started with 20 kilowatt charger, 25 kilowatt charger, then we moved into 60 kilowatt, moved into 120. Now we are talking about hubs. So it is just like mobile phones, we are keep on updating. Okay, so and the charger is also, charger manufacturer also now decided to upgradable versions. So initially we are designing, it is not about changing amps. It is about DC contactor involved and the cost is of the charger will go higher. And when it comes for CPO, pricing is a matter for us. When we go for pricing, we need to check the utilization. And now when we understand from the customers, they are ready to spend anything, but they want faster charging. And when compared to AC, I have different opinion. AC charging will not be a future. Because India power terrain doesn't support it. Imagine if in an apartment 500 people are there, 500 people out of 300 people has bought 7 kilowatt charger in their home. They have to increase the transformer. Where is the space for the transformer in a gated community? Already it is fully packed in the layout. No builder will give you a free space for free of cost. It is a practical difficulties are there. We can speak that we can charge in home, this, that and all. It is not possible in metro cities. If you go to T Nagar, how many cars in parked? How many people are parked the car in roadside? We are not living in Japan. We are in India. So where we have one parking, we have 4 cars. So in that way, DC charging is the only option. And we should have proper DC charging, reliable DC charging everywhere so that the battery management will be also good. Because if you go once in a week for a charging, the battery will good. You need to give a rest to the battery. Only thing is people going every day you are driving the car and night you are putting AC charger, again morning you are driving a car, again AC charger, you are taking rest but battery is not taking rest. Either charging, discharging. And it will go for a cycle. When it comes for a cycle, the battery cycle is also there. If you start from 90 to 10, 100 also it is one cycle. So the warranty claims, because we have done a lot of experiments in our own money with a lot of cars. I bought a car 3 years, 4 years back. I completely done only DC charging. I found that the battery has gone in 3.5 years. But they have replaced it. That is different altogether. But we had to understand that the warranty policy, the cycles. So I need to have a deep dive of the chargers and this technical experience. That's the reason we are into profitability. And this is much required for scaling. As Sir said now, the charger which is used in Chennai, which cannot be used in Bikaner. Because we have a practical difficulty over there, the temperature goes around 50-55 degrees Celsius. So as Sir said, the fans to be modified. So a lot of things are there. When the charger is working repeatedly, so we need to understand a lot of things and we are also learning day by day. So that learnings gives us the things. So and grid is the major play role. Grid and real estate. And in future, we need to go with solar and other things, so which will increase our profitability in future.
Yeah, when we talk about profitability, again, these are well addressed points, but apart from installation or deployment of charging stations across, what is the level of investment that is going towards maintenance of these? Because, installation, again, the numbers look very pretty when we talk about, X amount, X thousand installed, X thousand charging stations installed. So what is do you think the industry is spending enough in order to maintain those charging stations? Because the next phase will be upgrade, like you said, from AC, not outside of the Indian markets right now, the first generation chargers that we call, which were installed between 2011 and 2015, they were all 7 kilowatt AC charging and the max was 80 kilowatt DC charging back then. But right now, all those strategic places which were blocked by those AC charging, which were 7 kilowatt, 11 kilowatt, now they would most likely go for DC charging. So is similar because, and India is not in that challenge where there were first generation chargers that were installed in 2011-15. All that is happening is already there right now, and there's a lot of learning that is to be taken from the other markets where we are already starting at higher kilowatt charging. So do you think enough amount is being invested in maintaining those charging stations? How likely are they to go for an upgrade and in what years? So what is your opinion on that?
See, maintenance is okay. Maintenance is all the CPOs are doing maintenance. I think Tata Power has a separate team for it. They have separate protocol for it. But the challenge comes from the manufacturers. The challenge comes from after sales. The challenge comes from their import partner. Because initially, as a franchisee, people will look into a lot of chargers. As a CPO, we also do the same. So we buy the charger which is cheaper in price. They may import it. And after 2 years, that person who sold this charger also doesn't have any control on it. No after sales because the chargers has been upgraded. No child parts is there. So that is a major reliability. That is the major scenario. Maintenance is not an issue. After sales and child parts is the major issue. So we are forced to change the charger and we are forced to go for reinvestment. So it is better. We need to go for a reliable charging manufacturer, reliable charging CPO. When they align together, automatically things will happen. I think HKG,
Yeah, I think
from the day one, he is there in the manufacturing.
Yeah, he
because
should-
he is always ahead. When the market starts, he is in ABB for 50 kilowatt charger. Then when the market goes for 60, he is in 200 kilowatt charger. So now when the market is go for 260, he is into 360. So always ahead.
Right.
So that is the way the market grows.
I think your perspective, Mr. Hitendra, will be important as a manufacturer when he's mentioning about the manufacturer being responsible for after sales maintenance. So, what is your opinion? Is there enough investment being done towards focusing on after sales and maintenance of these charging stations when you?
I first of all agree with what Sir said. See, why do people don't have control on the maintenances? Because even on the component level, when it comes to current sensor, voltage sensor, everything is getting imported. There is no control. If you have a controller in the charger that needs a firmware upgrade because of maybe a particular XYZ car interoperability issue, you sit for 15 days. So all those things contribute. So if you really, we need to have, as a manufacturer, we need to have a command over the maintenance. There should be hardware, software level, I would say pro knowledge available at the R&D stage of the charger manufacturer. They should not just be the panel builder. I am being very frank, the chargers will come in CKDK, as Sir was saying, people will get stuck. And secondly, initially I think CPOs were little lenient on the manufacturers, but I think now all the major CPOs have strict SLA terms. They work on, they kind of link that to your payment schedule also. They have penalty clauses also. And then the manufacturer is forced to have those strict maintenance schedules so as to, maintain those charges. But yes, as I said initially, sir, yes, along with maintenance, they should be publishing of data for the CPOs, and it should not be only dependent upon, it should not be a blind support given by a manufacturer, wherein they say that we will send our engineer. Even the CPOs should be able to look that what component has gone inside the charger rogue, and even that component has gone wrong, what would be the remedy step? Because trust me, all the CPOs keep the spares also. And that is an additional investment on their side. So as manufacturers, I think all the charger manufacturers should take responsibility, have more command over their hardware and software, have more R&D involved in the component level rather than just assembling it as a panel. Because you will see hundreds and hundreds of DC charger manufacturers in the future because everybody is treating this as a panel building job, nothing else.
Yeah, I agree on this. That's the reason. The profitability comes with the child parts control. So normally we invest 10% higher for this child parts. We procure at the time of procurement itself. When we procure chargers, we procure their spares, components also in the stocks. So that's the major reason for our profitability. So it directly comes from the components. So we need to much concentrate towards the components market and the standardization of charger manufacturers.
Right. Yeah, I think, yeah, very interesting perspective. Now, before we close the panel, I think I would request each one of you to just summarize in one line, what do you think is, your key takeaway, or what would you address everyone in just one line before we close the panel discussion based on your experience and the background that you're working.
That will help the charging infrastructure to also scale up. As a charger manufacturer, I would say that as a charger manufacturer, give us an opportunity to let our chargers get abused, because the more vehicles will get charged, the real test of chargers will perform there. So I request all the transporters to have at least 10 to 20% of their fleets converted to EVs, and at least the passenger vehicle owners who can afford a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, because in two-wheeler market it is all about savings. That's why you have humongous sales of two-wheelers. But in four-wheeler market, have confidence on the technology, go for one EV. You have options starting from Tiago onwards, from Comet onwards. Go for an EV, start it with a city ride, so that it actually, starts creating a culture. And I see Southern India leading in that respect. Northern India has also picked up in a big manner, but the number one state has been for many years Kerala, with the adoption rate that they have shown. So I request all my fellow people who are sitting here to just adopt EV, to make it more viable, the EV charging infrastructure player, because trust me, CPOs invest lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of money to put up the chargers, and at the end of the day, when the utilization is less, they are also prompted to not expand it. You don't get more guns at the same charging station. So I request everyone to adopt EV.
Sure. So your perspective, your closing remarks.
So I think while we are talking about the CPOs, charger manufacturers, there is also one of the important part is a customer. So we also need to make customers aware about this technology and the anxiety of the customer, because most of the time customer thinks what would happen if I travel from my city to that city. So let me know you that most of the time, almost 90% the time you charge at home. Only 10% of the time you might go travel to other city. So 90% of the time you would have the fair amount of charging infrastructure or charging options available within your home or within your city. So adoption is, I think, key. Number one. Number two, customers should also be made aware about the etiquettes at the charging stations. Many a time customer, doesn't keep the gun well at the particular stand. They are not, many times they are in hurry. They just leave the cable if some lying on the road. They just many time run over it. And it makes an inconvenience to the second customer who is coming to the charging infrastructure. So I think we need to make aware the customer about the civic sense about the charging stations, because these are unmanned. Till now the habit is to, somebody would open the lid and put the petrol on your car. But now you are, picking up the gun, connecting to your car and doing everything on your own. So I think customer is a king. Let customer be also part of this journey to ensure that we have a very good scale up of EV charging infrastructure. Thank you.
So we want, as Hitendra said, everyone wants to buy EV, then only we will get money. So then only we will get more ROI. And when sir has said that that gun handling and other thing, that is a decorum. That will take more time, because in previously when the ATM starts, when somebody is entering PIN number, we will peep into what they are doing. Now if somebody is in ATM, we are waiting outside. The decorum took 10 years. So now we crossed around 4-5 years. So it will take another 4-5 years for CPOs to bear and adjust that. But now I think one decorum has came. If somebody is in green paint, nobody is parking. That is the first level of decorum which we expected. That is happening. Because previously, 4 years back, weekly once only one car will come. So at that time, one guy will park the normal car over there and we lost our business. Weekly once only will get business and that business is out. And that guy will post that there is no parking. And after that, hardly we'll get 10 customers. That can 8 customers will go off. So these are the things. But now it has been sorted out. Now people also move towards EVs. Now they are preferring first car as EVs. And because of this petrol prices and other things, everyone is moving towards EV, which is a good sign. And we want everyone to start this charging station because when you sell the car one time. But when you go for charging, it is a recurring income. They have to come to us daily. And moreover, easily, charging is our main business. So to go and concentrate in allied business. I can see a lot of people concentrating in cafe, lounges, hotels. They are starting for a charging station. They forget about charging, they are discussing about others. So, end of the day, the charger has to work. Then only we will get our ROI. Normally, we are thinking about others' ROI. So, our point is very keen, clear, straight. It will be on charger, charging station, reliability. So, and vantage points.
Thanks a lot for your perspective. I think very powerful closing statements for everyone. Before we make the floor open for questions, we just have Mr. Ivy Rao giving an opinion just so quickly. Yeah.
Hey, how do you decide the tariff? Because from some of my friends who own EVs, they say that tariff varies from station to station from some 9 rupees to 25, 26 rupees. Is it okay to have differential?
Very simple, sir. 40% is our profit means I can't compromise on profit. I have to increase the base price. Okay, in one place, the rental will be 10,000 where I can offer the service. If one place's rental is 25,000, I have to increase the base price. And in Tamil Nadu, power tariff is different. In Chandigarh, power tariff is different. In Delhi, power tariff is different. So there will be, based on the power tariff, so we will decide the prices. It's just like a restaurant where you go. You will find the same product, same dosa or chapatis in a different prices based on the amenities and based on the base price. So it will adapt in some time, but moderately we are in the average, like 18 to 24 is the average. So 18 rupees to 24, this 10 rupees, 15 rupees will be in government sites, not in private sites. So mostly 18 is 24 is nominal across India.
So, Mr. Rao, just to update you that there was an exercise done by the CEA 2 years back, wherein the cost of infrastructure, which is being invested by the CPO, its ROI over a period of 7 to 8 years, and the cost of power, that combines together the then plus some profitability over it. Depending upon the certain utilization percentage, you assume certain utilization percentage, on that basis the ROI is being, and that was closely from ranging from 18 to 26, 27 rupees, depending upon the cost of tariff at particular estate. While you might see that the cost of tariff is 4.5 rupees or 5 rupees, but actually when it is, if you see the total sum, many places you have a dual part tariff, demand charges plus tariff, and that cost of tariff is a very, very high. So that is why many places like Tata Power is paying what we charge, we pay more than that to discoms. So I think once the utilization comes up, this issue would get sorted out on its own.
Looks like a lot of questions for this panel. I will only be able to take 1 or 2 maximum. We will take the rest of the questions offline. Oh my God, I close to 7 questions I have. So over to you.
Hi sir, my name is Hitendra from Bangalore. I have one basic question actually. So the very good R&D is happening on the chargers and everything all over the world and even in India. But what about the grid? So do we have sufficient grid to support, and which is highly dense cities and less dense with the villages or the highways? So how we are coming up with a grid technology, or this renewable energy? Are we utilizing renewable energy for this? The filling up this gap? Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of state governments are discussing about BESS. Lot of state government discussing about solar. Now they have started. Even private players also started. A lot of solar investments are coming out. And when we tell, India is a land of buyers. Buyers only will fix the price. So a lot of solar players are there in group captive. Charge CPOs are the major consumers. So when you go for a factory, you will find hardly 10 megawatt factory in one place. But we will get 3 megawatt charging station in one place, and we have around 30, 40 megawatts. So we'll be the major consumer for solar. We will be the major consumer for BESS. So charging will play a market player in the solar industries or renewables. But governments, obviously every government is working, but it will take some time because it has a lot of policies. In India, we have policy guidelines, not mandates. So whenever India is driving towards mandate, automatically things will happen.
We are absolutely running short of time. Just
I'll just
yes,
make it
keep
real
your
quick,
question a
real
little
quick
short.
one. My name is Karthik, and I run a business here in Chennai, mainly into the renewable energy and energy transformation. So my question is, when we are talking about exploiting the benefit of the chargers being produced, the EVs being manufactured, so definitely there's a benefit, but the question is going ahead and exploiting the benefit. That's when everybody would start utilizing it, and there's more learning that comes and more development that comes into this segment. So the basic question here is, when you do this, you have a next stage of energy requirement. Obviously, there had been few questions and there had been a lot of discussions around that, evolving around that. So when are we in India being ready for vehicle to grid, which being a part of a program that would be eventually a virtual power plant is something that we'll be exploring over next decade is what I'm saying. Within the next decade, we should be ready with that when most of the advanced countries are approaching there and have a remarkable development in that space. So when is India going to be ready? Because this is definitely going to be helping assisting in EV development and adaptation of EV over a period, because some or the other way, it's going to result in, a stable, ecosystem of chargers being available without any interruption. All this are going to be solved, but it all depends on how the same vehicle which is drawing power is able to give the power back to the grid also.
Thank you.
It is very futuristic. In India, vehicles are manufactured to run the things. I'll tell you, a lot of manufacturers are opposed this vehicle to grid. That's the reason still it is on thing in India. Because when you use the battery for some other purpose, they will say the warranty will not be claimed. Lot of things are happening over there, but it will take, as you said, now it will take a decade. So decorums should come. So the manufacturers has to talk. The policies has to make. The electricity policies has to be changed, and regulatory boards has to be changed, and Ministry of Power has to be changed, and Ministry of Transport has to go for policy mandates. See, it not comes under technically we can do anything, but when it comes for commercial, policy advisors are much. So we have done the same thing in CII 2 years back. We also predicted that by 2035 to 40, we may explore the initial stage of vehicle to grid by 2035 to 40. That will happen for sure.
And just to add on to what you said, I think the first step would be, since you come from renewable energy, first step would be the AC coupled BESS. Having as a backup for the charger, also integrating it with the grid. The second step would be to have the solar in the bigger parks, charging parks, solar, wind and other forms of power, having a small microgrid. Then you will have CPOs complaining that we have 15 to 18% losses because of AC, DC, DC, AC, AC, DC conversions happening. Then you will have the DC coupled BESS with the DC-DC power modules and directly the guns charging your vehicles. And that too only for the case scenario where you have kind of less utilization, because in the cases of trucks and buses where you have humongous utilization, there and all, the AC coupled BESS combined with the solar wind or the off-grid or on-grid option, that will make that thing. But I think that will be the first transition that is happening, that is going to take place. And in the next few months only, you'll see all the CPOs putting up BESS in a wider manner. I think sir wanted to add.
Just I'll update you all that IIT Mumbai has already doing a pilot on vehicle to grid, and they are collaborating with the regulator, DISCOMs, and the CPOs to take it forward. So developments are happening, but yes, to the commercial scale, it will take at least 4 to 5 years, not before that.
Thanks a lot. I think we'll have to take a hard stop here, and we all are going to be in the room for any further questions. I think you can approach us when we go off stage, and we can take up the questions there.